Okay. This training is for the scroll saw, which is the yellow machine you see behind me. Very safe machine for cutting thin pieces of wood and cutting them in curved patterns. Now the first step is learning how to change the blade of the scroll saw, because these blades are very thin and they break sometimes, and so you need to change them. So come close. If you see here, the blade is this tiny little piece, and it's held securely between two clamps. There's a clamp here on the top, and there's a clamp here underneath. Now to change the blade, the first thing you need to do is loosen it, because right now it's very tight. So you push this tension knob all the way to the right, and that makes the blade nice and wiggly and loose. And when it's loose, I can unclamp it from the top. I just twist that clamp, and the blade comes out. And there's an identical clamp underneath that I loosen, and I can pull the blade completely out. Then, to put a new blade back in, I just slide it back into place. It's almost like flossing your teeth. You push it in to that little groove, tighten the clamp on the top. I'm going to crouch down here so that I can see it here. Again, like flossing your teeth, you put the blade in the little groove, tighten the clamp around it, and then you come back up here and retighten this tension knob to number 2. I know that can be tough to see, but number 2 is how tight you want that blade to be. All right, and that's changing a blade. That's step 1. So now we're ready to actually use the scroll saw. Notice I now have my goggles on. Always wear goggles when you're using the scroll saw, because it's going to create fine little sawdust that I don't want to get in your eyes. Because if you can't see when you're cutting, that is not a good thing. So I'm going to take my piece of wood. Notice I've drawn a little pattern that I'm going to cut out on here. Your pattern should be on the piece of wood, very clearly drawn out or glued on there where you can see it. When you use the scroll saw, you want to place the wood on the table nice and flat here. And I want to line myself up so my belly button is in line with the blade. I don't want to stand over here or over here. I want to be straight, lined up with the blade itself. To turn on the blade, I push this red button down. The blade starts going. And now I'm going to slowly push the wood into the blade. I don't move myself. When it comes to a curved line, I'm just going to rotate the wood like so on the table. So let me show you as I cut this piece. Now, as I'm cutting, it's very important to push down the wood, because if I don't push down enough, the wood, not a good thing. That's not a good thing. If you hear that sound, that means you need to push down more so the wood is not bouncing. So I go slowly. I rotate the wood. And I just stay on that line, rotate the wood to stay on the line. As I get here, to keep my fingers out of harm's way, I'm going to come back this way, and now I can hold it down. I always want to keep my fingers outside of this metal gate. Once the piece is done, I'm going to turn the blade off and wait till it stops moving, and then grab my piece.